Okay, so this is what we're dealing with tomorrow. Really early in the morning. We're probably already feeling this, honestly, because it's like getting closer and closer. So what's happening tomorrow is we are having a Pisces new moon. Astrology wise, this is the last new moon of the astrological year, and then the next full moon is going to be the start of the new astrological year. Hi, Bae. Glad you showed up now, not when I was dealing with all the tech stuff. I swear, today's just trying me. But anyways, so what we're gonna be having tomorrow is a Pisces new moon. Now, to know where this is happening for you, you need to look in your charts to 20 degrees of Pisces, which is going to look like this symbol right here. This is Pisces, and you're gonna want to go down to where 20 degrees is, and this is where this new moon is happening for you. It's gonna have, you know, new starts, because that's what new moons are for, getting the new starts in. But this is gonna feel a lot different than a lot of new moons, because this is happening in the sign of Pisces, which is the like ending, like the culmination, like everything's coming to an end. We're finishing things up. We're more than likely during this going to be setting intentions for doing new things, but wrapping up a lot of old things so we can start another new year. I know there's been like 50 new years already this year from different things, but this is another one. This is another new start. So if you feel like you haven't gotten your start yet for this year, you feel like you've been like really like just dragging and things haven't really picked up for you, maybe it might pick up more come April when we get that full moon, when we get that eclipse. Well, closer to April, and when everything starts kind of shifting from Pisces energy over into Aries, because we're only going to have a little bit of this. We don't have this yet. We still have Mercury in Pisces today, but tomorrow morning, along with this new moon, it's going to be shifting through the early morning hours. So even though we still have Sun, Moon, Neptune, Saturn, and Pisces, we finally have a little bit of new energy coming in the form of either communication, the way we're thinking, just being able to have a different perspective can be a huge thing that we need right now, because a lot of this energy can feel very heavy. It can feel very emotional, almost like you're drowning under it, and like there's just not really a way out. What this Mercury energy can be doing is showing us a glimmer of a way out. It doesn't necessarily mean if you see that, like drive yourself into the ground and like try to just go after that thing like crazy. Maybe take practical steps towards it, because with this kind of energy, it's easy to do things that are detrimental to your health, because it's like you've been stuck in such whatever kind of old rut you've been in for a while, something that's been hanging around possibly for even a couple of years now, because we're coming into a new like eclipse cycle with Aries and Libra. There could be a thing or multiple things, honestly, that have been hanging around the past couple of years that just haven't been able to like lift off of you. This could be that new start you've been looking for if you've been feeling like things have been dragging for a while now. It's not like just only a couple of weeks. Like this is like the culmination of a lot. So if it feels very heavy, if it feels like you're drowning, it's kind of normal because it's a lot of Pisces. It's like being yeeted into the ocean is pretty much what this is, and not really having a life raft and having to learn how to swim, which isn't fun. And it can be very scary. It can be like something that can be traumatic for some people, depending on where it is in your chart. But this also can be having the energy to finally like step like away from something that you've been really attached to for a long time, like a huge codependency that you have. So this is like letting you have a new way of thinking with that Mercury moving into Aries about a situation that's been plaguing you for a long time. And like I said, just because you see this new thing that you can do with this energy doesn't mean burn yourself out. It doesn't mean like push things to the point that you're making yourself sick, whether that's mentally or physically, emotionally, whatever it is, because Pisces is very heavy emotions. If you feel things are very stuck, this could be trying to show you where it's stuck and where you can actually do the healing you need, whether that's with a professional. Like for some people, this could spark the need to actually go and get the help that they need for certain things, whether that's like a physical like health checkup, or it's actually going to therapy for the first time, or going back to therapy after like a long stint of not going. It could be that kind of energy where you feel like, I want to start this new thing that's good for my mental health, because Pisces energy, 12th house energy, does deal with our subconscious and all of the psychosis that kind of comes from like the deep traumas and things that we keep hidden. So this could be that kind of deep dive energy for some people as well. Now, for everyone, it isn't going to be like this huge like emotional turnover kind of thing, depending on where it is in your chart. It could be you starting a new adventure, like either like meeting new people, or it could be like, you know, new to the dating scene. It could be something where you are actually like finding a mentor, where you're finding a new like set of beliefs, a way you want to like pursue higher learning, travel, things like that. It really depends on where it's falling in your house and like which house it's in, because we know it's going to be in Pisces. We know it's at 20 degrees. So you just need to find it in your chart. And if you need to know where you can get a free copy of your chart, you just go to astro.com and you can type in your information and get a free chart, just so you can look and see where this is happening for you. There's a lot of different, like, I know that I try to help you guys with like understanding stuff, but I do want you guys to know that there's such a wealth of information out there that honestly, I feel in some ways is very overwhelming, because it's a lot. Because the second you feel like you're starting to learn something about astrology, you learn there's a whole branch of it that you didn't even know existed. And then you're like, okay, I really don't know anything at all. And this can feel really daunting. This can feel like you don't really know what you're supposed to be learning. My best advice with that is find what interests you. Because just because a certain branch of astrology exists, like, because there's people that are really into like the astrology of death and like all those kind of dark things, right? There's people that are really more into like the evolution of the soul. There's people that are more into like career and mundane astrology. There's gonna be people that are really into things like astrocartography, like the astrology of like place and location and what's best for you. Like there's tons of interests out there, and you can take a little bit from each one to kind of like figure yourself out. But if something's overwhelming and you're not really that interested in it, don't force yourself to learn something, because I feel that's the trap a lot of people fall in that makes them not want to pursue learning more about astrology, is they hit something that doesn't really interest them and it like creates a wall for them, when there's like a lot of other avenues they can go down. Especially like if you're more science minded, you could do things like medical astrology and things like that, which I find fascinating, honestly. And but you don't necessarily have to adopt every ideology that you learn about. You can just take it and apply it where it counts for you, so you can actually, and I'm talking about this and this is very Pisces energy. It's like take it, adopt it, blend it as you need it, and then like use it to the best of your abilities in your life. Like Pisces is a very boundaryless. It's kind of like the merging sign, the one that like crosses the lines and everything. But since we have Saturn here in Pisces, there might be like some very like somber energy around this, and it is in a loose conjunction with the new moon. So whatever new thing we're starting, there might be like this serious undertone with it about, even though it's fun, even though it's new, even though we might be feeling like, because this new moon is sextiling Uranus, and then Saturn's also sextiling Jupiter. So like there's this energy of either how can I put this? It's almost like this growing structure, if that makes sense, because Jupiter in Taurus is all about like Taurus is growing energy. It's like grow things. Jupiter make things bigger, right? So whether that is problems for you or not depends on your chart. But what this is trying to give us with Saturn is it's trying to give us the discipline. It's trying to give us the structure we need, the reinforcement, possibly the authority, possibly a teacher, depending on where it is in your chart, because Saturn can be an authority, like a mentor or a teacher. But it can be having something come into your life, or just you yourself finally adopting certain things, because it could be routines that you're adopting that help you structure your life in a way where you can actually funnel this growth, you know, from Jupiter, so it's not just wasted. Because, you know, if you don't like try to bring it down and like do something with it, it can be wasted. You can be overindulgent, you can waste resources. It's like, this is being able to see. And the thing is, resources isn't always things outside of you. It's not always money, it's not always things like that. A lot of times our resources are our time, it's our health, it's our ability, because this is a lot of Pisces energy. It's our ability to be able to take on the heavy emotions of those we care about, because that could be something that's happening. Even if it's not you, someone you're connected with could be dealing with these heavy things and moving through these heavy cycles. So in a sense, it affects you. And one thing to be careful about with that, because we have Venus squaring, Venus is squaring Uranus over here. It can bring this tension to things not feeling really secure, things feeling really wobbly and shaky in relationships, especially if there's like explosive emotional outbursts, not really knowing if like the ground you're standing on in a relationship is very solid. A lot of that could be coming out at this moon for certain people. If it's not you, you could have loved ones coming to you talking about certain things, because I mean, this could be the end of relationships for some people, so that they could start something new with, you know, what makes them happy, instead of like drudging around things. Because that's what this is really about, even though it's a new moon, and a lot of new moons are like, do the new thing, right? This is more about releasing these things that are keeping us from doing the new thing. And I really feel like once we get to the Aries new moon, not this like coming up eclipse with the full moon, but the following Aries new moon, once we get to the Aries new moon, there'll be a lot more forward push energy, because everything's going to be out of Pisces. There might be a few things in there, but everything's mostly going to be moving more into Aries. We're going to be getting a lot more of this forward push energy, as opposed to like this little taste of Mercury kind of dipping its toe in it. As well as Mercury is going to be retrograding through Aries and doing some things too. So it's like we're going to be revisiting a lot of things. So if you feel like something didn't really get a conclusion right now, there's a really good chance that it's going to be revisited at either the full or the new moon in Aries, with how we're going to have Mercury dancing around up here for a while. So any like topics of conversation and things like that, even short distance travel, like if you had to do like little commutings in town of like important things that might come up again, or car stuff, things like that. But this is really just an energy of be careful, be patient, have compassion, not just for other people but for yourself too, because if you're the one in this rough space, you need to be kind to yourself, because being mean to yourself isn't going to get you out of here any faster. You just need to identify what it is that you're clinging so hard to that you need to let go of, and then like, you know, open yourself up to that. Because Pisces is more about the surrender, let go of like feeling like you have something bigger than you looking out for you. And in doing that with Pisces energy, it's like that's the surrender that a lot of spiritual people talk about, where it's like surrender it to whatever you believe in, you know. It's like they're always talking about like surrender this, that, the other thing. What it's really doing is it's trying to get you to a place where you're comfortable with, you can't control anything else in the situation. That's what surrender is. Like, you literally look at a situation and you know there is no part in it you can really control. You're just kind of either a bystander, or just kind of having to go with it. Maybe it's not even your situation, but in doing this, it's allowing you to be able to But the whole thing with this, my brain. No, she knocked it worse. She like knocked it into the wall. Sorry about that. She little kitten did some naughty things. So like she usually does. But anyways, with the Pisces energy, if you are the person that's healing through the rough stuff, just be kinder to yourself while you're doing it. Like, give yourself some compassion. If people around you are being kind of erratic, because that could be happening too, which is bringing on these things that you're realizing that you can't really feel security with certain people, trust your intuition on it, because that's literally Pisces intuition. Trust your intuition on it. Allow yourself to go with it. If there are certain things you can do, like that's in like and these are going to be smaller things, these are going to be like daily things that like deal with Virgo. If there's certain things that you can do that are in your control, like say you know, a certain way of eating isn't really helping like your mental with everything, or you know that like you haven't exercised in a few days and like it's really affecting your mental, like if there's things like that you can do, definitely do that. But when I say something's out of your control, it's hello. When I say something is like out of your control, I mean something is like you're just sitting by and watching. Like this could be like sitting by and watching a loved one like suffering through something, or like you're just in a situation where you're dealing with something like bigger than yourself. Oh, I don't have join things. I have, is my Ko-Fi link pinned? Is it? Okay, I'm making sure. I've had a lot of technical difficulties starting the stream, so I'm not even on YouTube right now because I just said screw it. But yeah, I have that. There's both live and private readings on there, so you can book like live ones and I'll do live ones, or if you'd rather keep your information, like I don't share private information, but if you'd rather like, you know, have your things talked about in private instead of like for everyone to see, like I understand that. So there's private readings too. It's just, what is it, the word reading through the word reading, it's just reading through each one and seeing what's better for you. But this right here is the new moon that's happening tomorrow morning. So, and the thing is, since this is happening very early Eastern time, for some of us, we might end up sleeping through this, the actual energy itself, but we're probably going to end up feeling things like leading into it tonight, or when we wake up, we'll be dealing with the actual energy of it tomorrow. Yeah, if you go to that website and you pick one, then I'll do you on here. Like, that's where I do all the bookings for readings and stuff. But yeah, so another thing that I want to talk to you guys about with this new moon is that Aries is going to be squaring Uranus. I mean, not Aries, Mars. The ruler, the natural ruler of Mars is Aries, and I just said Aries. Sorry about that. Mars is currently in Aquarius, not Aries, but it's squaring Uranus and Jupiter with where it is currently. So the thing with this that you need to watch out for is, for one, I have a Uranus-Mars square in my chart. It does some funky things, okay? Like, it can be funny. Like, Mars square Uranus can have funny, unpredictable things happen, because Mars is like your body action that you do, like the motivation you take towards things, but it's also like the physical action your body takes, and like even the way you walk. It like goes into certain things, right? So like these could be the funny stories of like having those major accidents where a lot of people see it, like walking in the polls where the whole school sees you and things like that. Like there's funny sides to this aspect because it's unpredictable. But there's also more serious depending on where it is in your chart. Mine, it goes into my 6th house, so it creates unpredictable rare health issues. So I have that to deal with on top of the other stuff. But this right here is basically trying to get you guys to realize there might be a feeling during this mood. You might get a wild hair up your butt to try to do something, and you don't know where it's coming from because that's Uranus energy. It's very unpredictable. It's in Taurus, which is fixed energy, which means it's very stubborn. So if you get a random idea, you're going to end up being very stubborn about it in this energy, which isn't the greatest for Uranus. It's like it doesn't like being stuck. It likes being able to rebel anytime it feels like it. It likes being able to have the freedom to change its mind. And it's a lot harder for Taurus energy to change its mind because it's a fixed energy, especially fixed Earth. So having this squaring off against Mars in Aquarius, which Aquarius is, you know, the natal energy, the natural energy of Uranus is Aquarius energy. So it's almost like having this fixed energy squaring off against what you naturally feel works with you. It feels like it goes with your body, but it's going against you at the same time. So it's a very funky energy. So it's almost like you might get an idea to do something and then you might really run like gung-ho for it for a while, right? And then all of a sudden you just instantly drop it. That's like Uranus Mars energy. It's like an unpredictable lightning bolt that like strikes you with inspiration. You jump in trying to do it, and then you might right in the middle of it lose inspiration for doing it. It's a very strange thing. So with the other thing I want to talk about is Pluto sextile to Mercury. Now, it's also sextiling Neptune because it's kind of close. But the sextile to Mercury is actually beneficial for us because if we're dealing with a lot of like fears and a lot of heavy emotions and a lot of things like having to like leave things that like we've been very dependent on for a long time, having to like try these new things that are very foreign to us, having Pluto here helps us have this sense of control over our minds because Pluto is this control, and having it sextiling this Aries Mercury energy is like this new idea, this new way of thinking that we get. It's like we're getting this push of feeling like we're stepping into like this power we're not really used to. So it can feel weird, but it is something that's really beneficial to us. Like a lot of people probably don't know what having a powerful voice or having their ideas be listened to, like they're powerful things. They don't really have that experience. Like a lot of like normal people don't have that experience. This is kind of almost like a collective feeling of doing that and being able to not be afraid of it because Pluto's giving that like soft push. It's also not doing any like rude kind of like other aspects to anything. So it's nice. It's just adding good right now, which is good. Pluto was doing a lot of stuff for a bit. At least now it's just giving us a little oomph and pushing us, you know, and making us feel like more powerful when we're stepping into doing these new things. Yeah, Mars and Venus is, you know, causing some unpredictable things, but it's unpredictable things we can grow from, and if we learn how to work with it, then oh yeah, we won't see no one sees a Pluto return in their lifetime because it takes well over 200 years to reach its original place of when you were born. So yeah, you might see maybe 4 or 5 sign changes of Pluto if you're lucky in your lifetime, because it's a very slow moving, maybe 6 for some crazy people, but it's like it's one of those things where no one sees it. It's like it's a crazy thing when you see the return, which is what happened in the US, like a Pluto return, because that shows when it began to now, and that's when a lot of falls of a lot of empires happen, like the Roman Empire happened at a Pluto return. So it's like it's just one of those things where it's like if you kind of can see where a lot, because Pluto brings a lot of heavy changes to anywhere you were fighting them in your life. And depending on where you have it natally in your chart, you can like kind of see like, okay, like say if you have it down here, you might see it go up through here in your lifetime. So you're gonna go from like your home being your depth to being like up in 8th house matters and investing in other people. So, or other people investing in you, that intimacy and stuff with people that are outside of your family. So it's like it's like, you know, things like that. You can just kind of look at it like that, like, because it's not going to shift through more than maybe 5 or 6 signs for you if you're lucky. I've already said if you want to get it, go to the Kofi and get the thing. But the next, because I think that's pretty much everything I want to say with the new moon.